Alright, you guys ready to do this? Hello, my name is Eclipse. Today, we are doing another broadcast. And today, it's a little more manner of something a lot of people probably want to know how to do. How do you win more consistently? Well, firstly, I'm going to show you a few pointers, a few tricks, a few ideals that you should really point out. And you gotta realize, there's some things you can do, there's some things you probably can't do. And the main point is, you gotta learn just how to do these key things to become more consistent. Because it's not hard, it really isn't hard. And when you get them down, and you learn them a bit, it surprisingly becomes a lot easier, to be honest with you. So, firstly, I'm gonna point things out as we go. And these are very key things to point out. And I'll be pointing out little things and big things, so don't think I'm not. The main point you gotta realize when you're racing is take point to what I'm saying. As it might be a little trivial, don't get me wrong, because being more consistent, there's a lot to it. You can either be a complete moron and try to force your way up front, or you can be a little more laid back, a little more crucial about how you do things, and then you think about it, and then that's how you get up front. So, we're gonna get in the car that's for S1. So, actually, I get new batteries. Yeah. Alright, so, give me a second. Where the hell's my batteries? I just had them. Ah, fucking shiitake. Alrighty, I'm gonna get these batteries in here, and we're gonna get started online. But, fuck! As we're doing this... Oh, I have a box cutter. Fucking genius. Damn, Corey, you outdid yourself today. I just stabbed myself in accident. Fuck. Okay. There we are. Got new batteries. Alright, so, we'll get S1 car out now for S batteries. So, while it's in the loading scene, we can go from there. Alright, let's get old Pinky Boy over here. Alright. Alright, guys, and now others be slight silent. Alright, and we're back. Alright, sorry about that delay. Alright, so,
hey,
obviously, if you stuck around,
driver who'd be perfect for your lineup.
There's a reason why you stuck around. And, honestly, being more consistent is something a lot of people want to do. It's not something that's exactly easy, but it is something everybody wants to learn. And, you know, most of these people, they want to be consistent without being overly aggressive, like, super fucking overly aggressive. So, we're gonna try, now we're gonna go on an online adventure, so. We're gonna do this, set that, oh god. Oh, Jesus Christ. Alright, first thing we're gonna do is check the lobby. So we're gonna look at the players in session. It's an S2 lobby, so immediately you can tell this is the last race in the lobby. As I'm S1 car in here. So, that's the first thing I realize. Usually, when we join the lobby and there's a championship going on, the easiest thing you can tell is in the top left of the screen, there is going to be something that says mixed surface, and then it'll give you a list of cars. It'll say mixed surface, cross country, playground games, anything goes, asphalt only. And when you look at this, it's gonna give you your choice of cars, and obviously for your choice of cars, it's gonna be the class. So let's say this is asphalt, right? It's gonna say asphalt. It's gonna show you my first few cars, and my first few cars obviously the Centenario, the guy who's on the same play, the Ultimate GTR here, does those are semi-performance, or semi-high rate cars, like 998s. And when you go down to S1, it's asphalt only. I'm gonna see this BMW right here, be the first car that's gonna pop up. And I'm gonna have a few other cars pop along that as well, 900. And etc., for each class. And it's just like that. You guys gotta realize this. Like, a lot of people, they just say, how do you know how to make the car choices? You know, how do you do these car choices? It's ridiculous. I can't figure it out. Well, you gotta realize, it first comes down to this. You're gonna have to put down your game codes and actually try to remember and try to see what is mixed surface, what is cross country, by looking at the words. You know, it's not like guessing. You get a little insight beforehand. The only way it gets confusing is if you have, let's say you have a BMW out, right? Let's say I have this car, right? And I join an S1 lobby. Firstly, it's not going to tell you it's mixed surface, and secondly, it's not going to tell you it's cross country or asphalt. So, what is the rightest thing to do? Alright, when you get into a lobby, here's a great advice for everybody. Please take this note, because I guarantee a lot of you don't. Look at the cars that are actually in the lobby. It will give you a fantastic indicator of what vehicles are being used. I'm sorry, if you see trophy trucks and boulders and Ford SVT Raptors, there is a fucking more than 90% chance it's going to be cross country. Let's say you see Subarus, Lancers, everything like that, and if you see a car drive out of you and it's fucking jacked, it's more than likely it's going to be mixed surface. If you see cars that seem like street driving cars, like Ferrari F50s, Ferrari 599s, Ferrari 458s, BMW anything, well, I'm sorry to say it, there is a great chance it's going to be asphalt. So there you go, there's a great indicator to look into it. Like this car is a dead indicator of an asphalt color. And I'm not trying to say that I'm an idiot trying to get into it, but when you're trying to get more consistent in the race and you're actually trying to figure it out, you know, you gotta learn this shit. Because it applies to everybody. Not just you, it applies to everybody. Because everyone has the choice of vehicle. And it's not. Everybody has the choice of vehicle. So now we got that out of the way. What is the next part of consistency? Alright, now we're getting a bit into it. The next thing we're gonna learn is car choice. Car choice can be everything. And you know, you should have cars tuned accordingly for different parts of asphalt, different part of mixed surface, different parts of cross country. You know, cross country is not gonna be fucking different. So, just keep that in mind. Firstly, if you're in the Outback and it has mixed surface, I just want you to know, you better have some damn decent acceleration, because in the Outback for asphalt, street races, and mixed surface, everything is fast-paced and long straightaways. Alright, except for cross country. Cross country, you might be going in Ormiston Gorge quite often, because that is actually one of the tracks, and it's a very common track. Another thing to look into, is your vehicle good at handling or not? Because if your vehicle doesn't have 7.6 handling, you're basically you're just playing yourself. Alright, so we're gonna use this. This is asphalt only, so I'm gonna use my Cosworth. Alright. So now, since this is a stream about being consistent, what's the way to race consistent? Is there an easy way to do it? Is there an easy way to not do it? There's so many factors, and you know, I swear, you have idiots that fucking brain dead shit when it comes to actually racing. And the best way to do it is, let's say this. I love the people. The other thing, the first instinct is to, hey, let's go fucking slamming into the corner. You're making it 10 times faster. Yeah, it doesn't fucking work like that. Firstly, to a lot of unprofessional racers, the corners actually slow you down by 25% per contact. Take that into consideration. Secondly, do realize that, you know, the brakes can actually make you go faster instead of slower. Thirdly, do know that a good lap time does apply to everything else here. So if you think about it this way, a good lap time is simply you. Now, back to parts about that. You guys gotta realize, going into a corner like this is not easy. Going to corners is not exactly easy. There's a brake line, and then there's a check line, and then there's an acceleration line. And there's even corners where you're not going to slow down the slightest. But that always comes down to a tune and how your car is going to be performing. For my car, let's say a Cosworth like this. It's tuned out with the Ranger V8. It's tuned to be just like how Ranger would be accelerating. It's got the torque to where I can pull the corners extremely fast. So what I'm doing is basically I'm relying on corners and tight banking. And then I'm relying on sheer acceleration to get myself out. But I can't rely on top speed. As we're not in the outback, this is one we'd like to rely on. So when you're thinking about places do help a lot. And you gotta realize car selection helps a lot too. There's good, there's also goods, and there's also no-no's good too. Another good thing to realize is that rear-wheel drive is useless outside of anything else. Now, a lot of people argue about this. It's a very, very common thing to argue about. But you gotta realize this now. All-wheel drive dominates the scene. It's been known for a long time. It's obvious. It's apparent. And if you're going to get the fastest lap time, you're just going to be running all-wheel drive the whole time. And if you're not running all-wheel drive, just keep in mind, yes, you might have better handling. Yes, you might have better, well, acceleration, maybe. May have better speed, maybe, after your launch. But if you're taking consideration after your launch, so if you take your launch into consideration, it takes you about maybe, let's say, 3 seconds. Alright, let's take that consideration here. In 3 seconds, you'll be at 60 miles per hour. Take an all-wheel drive car. Let's take a car like, say I have sets over there. Let's say a Subaru 22B. In 3 seconds, that car will probably be 120 miles per hour. Now, let's do the math here. If you're coming out of a corner, rear-wheel drive has a better chance to spin out. And it also has a better chance to actually lose the rear end. All-wheel drive has a chance to understeer. Which one's better? Well, technically, understeer, in some aspects, can be a lot worse, or it can be a lot better. In the best case, it's better off-road. No doubts, no qualms, nothing like that whatsoever. On-road, it's a different story. Yes, you want oversteer, but at the same time, you don't want too much. Because if you have too much, and you already have too little grip, where's the power to go? Alright, we'll take the first turn. We're taking the first turn. We'll take the first turn. Always take it in deep, just in case you don't know the drivers of the lobby. It's always a good way to look at it. Exactly like that. You see what I mean? Black car over there. Next thing is taking tight marks and tight corners. It's kind of apparent, you know, you want to take as tight as like possible. But with all-wheel drive, what a lot of people don't seem to understand is the fastest way to get a faster lap time is you want to clip the dirt with 2 wheels as much as possible on the off track. Why? Well, the point is, since there's understeer in all-wheel drive in every single build, no matter what you do, what you do is you dig one tire, and you gain instant traction by doing that. It causes your car to break out a little bit. And with that little bit of traction, you can slam around a corner 20-30 miles per hour faster. See this? But yes, do you realize also, some cars, even when they turn all-wheel drive, dirt will not be your friend. If a car is too small, it's not going to help. It's kind of like this, a Lotus 111S, a very good example of this. I run a professional tune in my car that runs 670 horsepower for S1 class. Very competitive car. The problem with it though is that it's so squirrely off-road it's almost unusable off-road. So if there's any dirt touching on this car, it can cause it to immediately spin out because it's mid-engine all-wheel drive. But if you take a car like the Cosworth over here, which is a much bigger car, and also has it's also a front engine, there's more of a power weight to the front than there is to the rear, which keeps it more planted on dirt. Alright, and see you guys, that's it. Easy victory, all there is to it. Listen, even when you take the time to consider how to do all this, it's not hard to be consistent. All you gotta do is take some time away. Think about what you're actually going to do, because, like I said before, the easiest way to do everything is look at the location. Say we're in Surfer's Paradise. When you're in Surfer's Paradise, there's barely any straightaways. So basically, you want a car completely built for cornering and acceleration. That's all you're really going to use, and that's where my Lotus really shines. But if you go to a place like the Outback, yet again, that's a place where there's not many sharp turns, but long sweepers and really fast straightaways. You probably want a car. You want a car faster than this. But at the same time, you know, it's also trying to play the player's lobby. You have to think about what each player is going to do and what every player is capable of. If some player plays more competitive than others, let's say they take a harder line than you do, and they basically, let's just say they shoulder bump you a little bit. Well, basically you gotta try to counteract that. If they're using you as a wall, per se, using a more shallow brake line means taking it wider. Braking a little more, and then turning sharp into the next corner can actually help you out a lot more. But saying this again, consistency doesn't come overnight. It's just something you pick up, you learn, and just go from there. And also keep this in mind, consistency doesn't fix tunes. If your tunes suck, they suck. It's obvious as that. But it's not hard to get a good tune from a good recommendation from decent people who are decent tunes. And there's a lot of them. There's not one, there's not two, there's more than fucking 1,000 in this game alone that have decent tuners in it that can set you up a decent car. So don't ever get discouraged about tuning. Can't you do it? There's other people that can do it for you. And also, it's also recommended. Give some people more big shout out. Alright, last thing I gotta address, because like I said again, is car selection. It's the last thing we go over once again, because a lot of people don't seem to get it. Why don't you use off-road vehicles that are mid-engine or rear-engine all-wheel drive? It's more or less how the power is applied. If you're taking a jump, let's say with a mid-engine or a rear engine, what end of the car is going to come down first? The front or the rear? It's always going to be the rear. And keep this in mind, when you don't have your front tires touching the ground, or when your front tires don't have enough traction and you're not touching the ground, it's kind of hard to actually tell how your car is going to react as soon as it hits the ground when its tires, its rear drive tires, are the ones doing all the work and controlling it. Now, with a front engine, of course you don't want too much. Anything higher than 60% you really shouldn't fuck with. But if you have something around, let's say, 59% to about a good 47%, that's a nice ratio for a mixed surface vehicle. That's not a bad ratio in the slightest. And also, it would work very well for asphalt vehicle that, let's say, you want to make into mixed surface vehicle as well if you particularly like that car a lot. Nothing wrong with that. Lastly, cross-country was something I did not cover, but we're not doing cross-country here, are we? But anyway, cross-country is a different game altogether. All cross-country is people think it's all about acceleration, but it's really not. All it's about is trying to be taking a bump and having the least amount of resistance as possible. See guys, that's what I'm talking about. Sad Panda's one of those people. They'll basically wall ride though. I was looking at him. They'll basically ride you, and they'll use a wall to actually grab you. And also he's using the wall as well to actually tap out and keep going. Now, there's a lot of cars used for cross-country, but cross-country is dominated by, thank God they patched this now in Forza Horizon 3. Horizon 2 and Horizon 1 is a very bad issue. Was, now in cross-country, your vehicles have to be, well, SUVs or trucks to make to wade through waters and actually keep accelerating. Unless you have an insane amount of horsepower and your little sedan, it's a fucking Subaru or some shit like that. But anyway, cross-country, it's all about handling mainly. If you have good handling, you have a good crowd. If you have good acceleration, you need good throttle control. It's basically who can take the turn first and accelerate down to the next checkpoint before the other one can. That's all cross-country is. And in between most of the tracks is just a crazy amount of obstacles that are there just to slow you down. Like water. Water is a huge hindrance to cars. I mean, I hate cars these days. But for SUVs and trucks, per se, they have no problems with it. So that makes them ideal for cross-country. Now, what do you use for S2 cross-country? Because this is actually a question everyone asks. Well, the thing you gotta do about cross-country for S2 class is pick something stupid fucking fast, pick something with stupid good suspension, pick something that's all-wheel drive, and pick dirt tires. Dirt tires are definitely preferable. That's all you really can do, because there's really no SUVs that are competitive in S2 class. And as in S2 class, believe it or not, most mixed surface races, like there's some that are just all asphalt. There's no mixed surface ideal at all. So that's just something to look at. The other thing to think of is, what else can you actually do to go faster around track? Well, just think of high lines. Take the high line, and when you're actually out in front and you have a decent gap, then you can actually start experimenting how fast and how hard you can push your vehicle. For example, if you look at the fastest time, that would be me, 57.5 seconds. The second fastest time was the Donkey GTO, 59.6. If you look at everybody else's times in the lobby, you do a little comparison. You see what your strengths are and what their strengths are, and you keep going from there. For example, the slowest time was a 111, which is not too far off from a 57 in all general aspects, because everybody would finish the race. But think of it this way: if you do that 3 laps in a row, 57 seconds, take that 11 times it by 3. What happens? There you go, 33 seconds. Now 33 seconds, how fast does the clock tick down? 30 seconds after the leader finishes the race, right? Well, there you go. The player just gets disqualified and they can't finish. And that's how you take that into consideration. Not everybody can be perfect, but you know, we can all strive to do it. Now, as a recap, like I said, just follow the rules, do what you can, do what you want, you know. All I'm doing here is giving you advice. It's just one good player to a bunch of little players. Anyway, guys, this is Eclipse. Peace out. Have fun. Keep in mind, there's all.